Amr ibn al-As رضي الله عنه قال وهو في سياقة الموت. Amr ibn al-As is a Sahabi who accepted Islam later. On his deathbed he said what? He said, I didn't love anyone more than loving the Prophet ﷺ, and I did not respect anyone more than I did the Prophet ﷺ, and for that I could not gaze fully and keep looking at him. I couldn't keep looking, I couldn't stare at him. And he says, if I were to be asked to describe him, I wouldn't be able to describe him in full ﷺ because I would not stare at him. So you know that's the amount of respect he had for the Prophet ﷺ. You know how sometimes with parents, maybe that's the closest thing. If you really respect someone, and you can't look him in the eye. You have to look down. That's how much respect you have. So when it came to the Prophet ﷺ, he says, so much love and respect, I couldn't look at him for too long. He would lower his gaze. And that is someone who accepted Islam later in comparison to other people. The last thing we mentioned, and this is coming from Malik, rahimahullah. And Malik, this is the Imam Malik. He says, كان مالك إذا ذكر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يتغير لونه وينحني حتى يصعب ذلك على جلسائه. He says, Malik, if the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم would be mentioned, his face, the color of his face would change. And he would bend and incline until that would be difficult to witness, and people around would feel sorry for him. Right? They kind of pity him for this. So they advised him about it. He says, why do you react so strongly? Like whenever the Prophet ﷺ is mentioned, you know, your color changes, you kind of bend forward a bit, you seem fully affected by that every time it happens. He said, rahimahullah, he said, if you were to see what I saw, you would not blame me. He says, I used to see Muhammad ibn al-Munkadir, and he was the best of scholars. Whenever we'd ask him about a hadith, he would cry until we would feel sorry for him. Now, where does that come from? That is from attachment to the Prophet ﷺ. That whenever the Prophet's name is mentioned and he's going to talk about a hadith, you feel on one hand the gravity of what you're going to do, because I'm quoting Muhammad ﷺ, but also you have that such love for him that when you start, just like if you're going to start quoting a dead parent of yours that you love so much, and as you do that, the lips starts to quiver and tears start to drop, because that what you're saying reminds you of him. So they had that attachment to the Prophet ﷺ that as they say it, they feel that longing and he starts to cry. That separation becomes hard. That's the difficulty that they experienced, and it is what? It is all a consequence of loving him ﷺ.